As a woman in Nigeria who has a voter's card, do you know there was a time you couldn't have such if not this woman that fought for women's enfranchisement? Her name is Funmilayo Ransome-Kuti. Oh, you probably never heard of that because all you know about her is that she was the mother of Fela and probably the aunt of Wole Soyinka, and of course the first woman to ride a car. Did a lot of things and prominently towards the empowerment, liberation of women. But we are going to unfold all of that in this video. Today's episode on successes of women will be looking into her story. She was born October 25th in 1900. She was privileged to come from a family that prioritized girl child education, and this caused her to, in 1914, to be the first female student of the Abeokuta Grammar School. Then she went on to England for the Western education, and then she came back into the country as a teacher. Afterwards, she married Israel Oladotun Ransome-Kuti. Their marriage was notably filled with equality and mutual respect. 30 years in marriage, she lost her husband. So after she lost her husband, she formed the first preschooling program in Abeokuta, and later on, in 1932, she formed the Abeokuta Ladies Club that included elite women, privileged women, and educated women, and mostly Christian women and all that. Then in 1940, she had a friend who was a market woman and an illiterate. And then this woman was interested in writing and reading. So she came to her friend and, told Fumilayo to teach her how to read and write. And that was when Fumilayo took note of women's lack of education and how only a few of them were privileged. And because of that, the club accommodated all women and they started organizing classes for these illiterate women. And that made her to be the pioneer of the first adult education for women in Nigeria. Now, her exposure to these market women made her to be exposed to other challenges that women were now facing in the society. For instance, those market women were being opposed, and that's why in Aba there was a riot. So the same thing too in that Abeokuta, they were having protests because there was a particular increase on taxes on women, market women, to make their operations challenging. And this tax was imposed by the king of the time, the Alaka Ademola II. But Fumilayo and her women were not having it. Protests. The police was on their neck. She even taught them how to handle tear gas and everything. All these things, like we didn't hear this legend. Her women at one time would block the palace. The pressure was on the king. They had to, after several years of fight and order, they had to remove those taxes and create other laws that were favorable to women. So women fought for every privilege they had. Like the pressure was so much on the king that he had to abdicate temporarily. Osalo, Osa, he jackpot from those women and he called them vipers that cannot be tamed. She traveled across Africa, Asia, Europe, attending conferences, speaking on women's matters. She was the only woman at one time when some Nigerian delegates represented Nigeria overseas. 1949, in her continuous fight for women's rights and political involvement, advocating that women should have more positions in the society and all that, there she formed the Nigerian Women's Union. And so then the AWU became the Abeokuta branch of that. Then something happened. While she was one of the founding members of the NCC, one of those ancient political parties, right? She wanted to run for a position in the regional assembly, but she lost. Why? Because her supporters who were women could not vote for her because women did not have the right to vote. And that increased their campaign for the rights of women to vote. and for better education and better opportunities for women. So there in 1953, formed the Federation of Nigerian Women's Societies, where they kept campaigning for women's rights and all that. She got chieftaincy title of the Oloye. She got several awards, even an honorary doctorate degree from University of Ibadan. She was appointed a member of the Order of the Niger and the Lenin Peace Prize in 1970. So after their campaign, their protests, street protests that they will make, all the fight, they fought the police and all that, fought the government, the fought the Oba of the land, fought the traditional ruler, all for women's rights and all that. Finally, after independence, there was now a ruling that accommodated adult suffrage, and so women could vote alongside men. Women trying to say no, they don't have a place, they're not going to subscribe to women have a place, or that they are rubbing shoulders with men. But these stories are, hidden, they're swept under the carpet, they are not told, and it's very intentional. They've only tried to reduce her to a mother and an aunt. They could say she's the first woman to ride the car, but they didn't talk about all her fight, all the struggles. Even that right to vote was only even in the south. It wasn't effective in the north after 16 years. So her son, the popular Fela Kuti, then interested in a better Nigeria, and he was always against the government, and his mother was by his side. So one time when the Nigerian army was sent to raid their residence, the military sadly threw her from the second floor window, and then she sustained an injury. She was hospitalized, and a year after, 13th April 1978, she was pronounced dead. Her funeral was a talk of the town. All the women closed up. The market was shut down just to honor her. The media published a lot of eulogies. She was known as a revolutionary advocate, a Pan-African, was also against racism. And that's why she even eliminated her Christian name and even adopted the unofficial Anikulapo-Kuti, because she wanted to eliminate the Ramson alongside, just like Fela did. Now, these stories are not told, and oftentimes it seems a lot of women are not really aware of the privileges they have, and that it came with a lot of struggle, with a lot of fight. And that's why you see them, they are so easy on the internet to shade any women's rights campaign and all that, because they want to be pick but they don't know that if women like Funmilayo choose to be pick women will not even be on the internet. Like if this internet did not come in this our time, if it came in the 1930s, 1940s, no woman will have a Facebook account. But it came at a time where women already had right to education, women were already powered, and that's why it seems normal to you, and that's why you see women with feminist privileges, mommy GOs or something like that, will come to the internet and bash the very movement that give them the privilege and voice that they have. I hope you now know this story about her, that she was an activist, she was a feminist. And this should also give you more insight to the struggles of women. She was more than the first woman to ride a car. She was more than Fela's mother, and she was more than Wole Soyinka's aunt. Till I come your way again with another woman. Bye.